you discuss why a move like this is such a major stepping stone for such a nationally recognized organization with the magnitude that St. Jude's research facility does have?
Thank you for the opportunity of engaging in this discussion, because this really is a new venture for St. Jude. It is known internationally for its work in oncology and hematology principally. But in fact, the basic mission of St. Jude is much more broadly based, and it's to look at children who have diseases that are treatable, are curable potentially. And the leadership at St. Jude decided about a year ago to expand their horizon beyond their base in oncology and hematology and to branch out into other areas, feeling that we could use those resources to support the treatment of children with other types of diseases. And the leadership elected to move into the neuroscience area, principally because so many pediatric diseases are genetically based, and we know the genetic cause now. We understand the mechanism of the disease, and we can start to target these diseases with different treatment strategies. And this is where we can really utilize the strengths that are at St. Jude and try to harness those to develop new treatments for the area of neurologic diseases. Speaking for myself, I focus on children principally with genetic conditions that affect how the nerves and muscles function, or in the case of mutations in those genes, how they don't function properly. And over the past 20 years or so, there's been an explosion in the knowledge in that area, and several new treatments have emerged recently. So it's based on some of that work that St. Jude has elected to develop a whole new program. In fact, it's a Center for Experimental Neurotherapeutics. And what do we mean by that? So we're looking at conditions that go anywhere from the brain all the way down to the nerves and the muscles. And so, for example, we're looking at diseases that can cause epilepsy, which is a very common disease in children. But in this case, we're looking at very specific types of epilepsy or seizure disorders that are genetically based and can be targeted with some of these new treatments. And we're talking things like gene therapy and using little pieces of DNA that can modify how the body processes the RNA and improves the condition. And fortunately, we have great expertise just across town at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital in this particular area of epilepsy. So one of the specific conditions that we're going to be looking at is something called Dravet Syndrome, which is a very severe form of epilepsy in young children. And now there's some very defined treatment strategies, and we hope to work with our colleagues over at Le Bonheur and to be able to together try to bring some of these treatments into the clinic. So that would be one example of a brain-based disorder. There's several others that we're targeting as well. One of those is called Friedreich's ataxia, which is a devastating disease, and there's no effective treatment for that condition as yet. But now that we understand the disease and the genetic basis for this disorder, again, we're able to target specific strategies and be able to think, how can we modify this disease and improve how these children are functioning? Try to prevent the progressive deterioration in their neurologic situation. So those would be two examples of brain-based disorders. There are other conditions that are in the area I work, nerve and muscle conditions, which again, we hope to promote through gene therapy and other types of targeted treatment at St. Jude. So I'm just thrilled to be given the opportunity to harness again some of the strengths that exist at St. Jude, direct some of those towards some of the neuroscience area, and hopefully be able to quickly move some of these promising new treatments into the clinic.